Alright, so let's talk a bit about anatomy, and specifically I want to go into breaking up into the body into different parts, and also talking about the internal and the external basic anatomy. So, if we look at the body, here is the front, here is the side, and here is the back, just a basic diagram that emphasizes the muscles, because that's what we're going to look at. To put the most simple idea of internal and external anatomy, we would draw a intersectional line here to cut off essentially the around at the pec and teres major and minor. It would muscularly be cut, and the joint right here would be separated, and then you would have the shoulder, the arm and the hand essentially. So we would cut, we would do that. For the head, probably you would separate at the neck. This would be a separation of the neck and the head from the major of the body. If we see here the what do you call the trapezius around there, so it would be around around here. You probably wouldn't take the trapezius, but you would do this. So as we see for the back area, just across there essentially is fine, or on the shoulder. For the legs, this can be debatable because there is the pectoral region for the arms, and the upper kind of, technically it's the lower chest, kind of upper, maybe you probably wouldn't call it upper belly. So the rib cage region, so this whole region here, this which we call the torso, is a transitional region between the between the arms and between the body. But technically the pectoral region, the ribcage region, here we see, the what you call the upper back, the kind of lower back, which is the here we have the lateral region. This is still attached. This is all still the body, the torso pretty much being like this kind of region, this region, so to speak. So these are all transitional regions between the arm and the actual torso. For the leg, the entire pelvic region, if you follow these lines, is all the torso. So this is all the torso, the internal part. If you're a man, the genitals is external. If you're a woman, the genitals is considered internal. And depending where, you would draw a separation from, see, this is the this area here is the lower back or upper. It's kind of here, as you see, here is the glute muscle, and here is the upper back, which this region here is this region here. As you can see, the kind of the upper hip, I guess you would say, because you can kind of draw a line, and that's where you kind of put the belly button, is actually where this area is here. And on a very, just say a very voluptuous person, it's the belly button's here. They have this bit. They have this large protrusion of the if you know it, you can kind of see this. They have this large protrusion of the hip and lower back, and the glute and the thigh here. The glute, if we looked back, would be kind of here, so it's kind of halfway in between this area. But they've got this area like that. You kind of look like this, and that's where you can get if you get hip dips or anything like that, it's because technically it's because like the side of the glute and the lower back is kind of underdeveloped. So You can fill them in by doing like side leg raises, where you raise the leg sideways and all that. But anyway, going on, that's kind of the separation there. It might be up a little bit, and it's kind of down, but just have to work with me anatomically. So some people would separate the leg like that and like this. So that's where you would separate the the legs from the lower region, which would be here. So you'd go like kind of like this. This is a region here. Runs around this thing here. That's a region. The legs are a region. The torso is a region. The lower chest, technically, or the lower rib cage and the upper chest, you can split them into regions as well if you want, or you can just have it as one big region. While separating the arms for regions, shoulder region, the bicep kind of region, forearm region, so best going forearm, like that, and then hands would be a region. Legs, similar thing. Depending on the front, it'd just be here to knee. Knee you can kind of have as a region if you want, and then lower leg, and then you can have the ankle as a region, and then the foot as a region, and if you want to separate that. But if you thigh, this is kind of the thigh, knee separating, you have like the butt kind of region, so you can have the butt and like the lower back. You can separate those into regions if you want. Now from the back's a little bit different on how you separate things. Again, if you did it with if you separate it this way, the legs from the body, it would look like this anatomically, and again that's this, but I think the laterals here, the fibers kind of run into that, and the lower back, technically you'd have the kind of peeking out there, but I just didn't really show that. Technically these like transitional spots, so to speak. I mean, this whole area and that whole area is kind of a transition spot, but it's also whatever. And now if you separated it more from that, like that way, which is more, it's more realistic. It's like if you pop the legs off a chicken, you don't go to the lower back really, generally not. So you'd separate it, here, and you'd have, the hip, on the hip joint, which is the glute, is kind of like the shoulder. The glute's like the shoulder, so to speak, of that. Depending on how you want to see things. And I guess the lower back is kind of like the lateral, if you want to see it that way, and you would separate it that way. So you'd go like this, and then for the arms, you just separate the arms straight off. And the head is an external part of the body. So that means the internal part of the body is, at least if it's on here, the most internal is here, somewhat less internal, but still internal. It's kind of like here, and also the pelvic area, or technically this kind of or here, as you can see here. So this is the internal body. I guess I have those, and the rest is the external body. So again, kind of internal and then external. Of course, can't really get the arms, but just pretend that. Internal down here, because from your tailbone, kind of like the tailbone here, your PC muscle basically wraps to the lower belly here, and genitals are there, and then this whole region is still internal body, and then you have the, again, lower, kind of lower back and side glutes and back glutes, side glutes, which is a hip connecting, and then leg. And that's like the hip joint, how that functionally works. So the kind of, the leg again is external. Alright, so now we have a basic idea of what is internal, what is external of the body. And you can do that through like meditation. You can just focus on it, or you can train different areas. Now here I have another diagram to kind of show the to more emphasize the middle area. And technically you could actually do this. You could have the bottom as kind of this whole region here, if I'm going to overemphasize a little more. So the middle is basically just, you see this makes a bowl. This is kind of the here is the pubic region under here, and here's the genital region. So below, just above the pubic region, this kind of makes like a shape like that, and just below the ribs again, so it makes a circle. You literally have like a circle here, and then you have the side obliques, the lower kind of connects. It's all connecting. It's all like lines are running through the body, and feel these lines of just lines of force essentially running through the body like that, wrapping around through the muscles, through the arms as well, and it will kind of look like that. And then we have the upper body here, which we can see, as I said, this is technically, this area is still internal. This is all internal body, but it relates specifically, as we can see, to the arms and head. This is kind of the upper bit, the same way that this red area is, relates to the legs and technically to the genital region and the genitals. So you want to split the body kind of like that, or whatever. And then we just have this core region, which is, it wraps around, it's the waist belt. It's literally like a belt that wraps around your, that's why people wrap a belt around here, to give your organs support and all that. Now, to kind of ruin the color coding we've already made, let's get to the third one, which now we have blue as the lower and red as the upper. The reason why, this is where your blood, this is where your bladder is, and this is kind of vaguely where the heart is, probably a little bit. Is it up? No, it's kind of, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, it's not perfectly anatomically correct, but you get the point. Similarly, this could be a bit lower. Yeah, whatever. Good enough though. And just the point I'm trying to make is like the fire and the water organs, and the middle, which is the kind of got like, is it the pancreas, or is it the spleen, or maybe I know the stomach is more over there, or the liver is more over there. I don't know, maybe the stomach is kind of in the middle, but whatever. The idea is like, you kind of have the yellow center, so to speak, in the middle of the yin and the yang, positive. This is positive, and this is negative, of course. And the heart, the strength of the heart is like the strength of the arms and the chest and all that. And the strength of the bladder is the strength of the legs. If you have a very weak bladder, a lot of men don't want to exercise their legs. They just want to do heart and chest exercises, but a lot of women just want to do leg exercises. They don't really want to do any chest exercises. Reasons being, of course, is women have a stronger bladder, have a stronger lower region. Here's the lower region. The whole lower region is stronger on women, while the upper region is stronger on men. Men have a stronger upper body, while women have a better lower body. That's kind of just how it works. There are other reasons, of course, like what we can say, improper sexual practice causes bladder weakness. Another one, just FYI, so you've got a weak bladder and all that stuff. I'll look into that. Here is another diagram just showing the heart here, kind of vaguely, and the bladder here, again vaguely lower back, glute, again thigh. If you need a more anatomical diagram, it's not perfect, but it's kind of to get the idea. And then we have this interesting thing here, which is it's kind of lateral. Actually, technically, this was meant to be a little back, but whatever. Good enough. And side abdominal kind of region, just to give a basic idea, and belly button or something like that. So yeah, it's kind of to show like the upper part of the body and the lower part, and then we've got like the middle part. I would have drawn in yellow if it looked good, but it didn't, so I used green. I think that's good enough as a transitional color. But anyway, hopefully you kind of get the idea on how all this works. You pretty much have your three main areas of the body, and you also have the internal and external parts, so to speak. If I say arms there, then so if you're doing like internal exercises, which is it's all going to exercise these whole areas, and while the external is going to be your legs and your arms, right? That's going to be exercising that, but it all kind of links, as I said. There's lines running through the whole body, kinetic lines running through the whole body. So if you exercise your legs, it's going to exercise your lower kind of pelvic place as well. Similarly, if you exercise your arms, it'll exercise the upper back, the chest, all that, the traps, shoulders, all that stuff. Of course, it depends on what you're doing, but yeah. Anyway, I'll leave you with this. I hope you enjoyed and got something out of it, and of course check the links in the description if you're interested, and of course have a nice day.